Good day, students. Just a quick one on the week 12 assignment. Here's the solution. Thought it might be easier to do it this way. So as you know, you were given these pay ranges and pay levels, and you were asked to do a few things with them. So it was, what observations can you make about the percentage differences between the different pay levels? So that would be these. And then the second part, between the different pay ranges, that's the minimum, A, B, C, and max of the pay structure. So that's these, yeah? I think everybody was kind of all right there. So of course I asked you to calculate them and then ask you how you feel. Do they seem correct or fair? And what brief recommendations can you make based on what you calculated? So let's go. So the first one is to look at the percentage differences between the different pay levels. So as I've said here, you can see it's fine to calculate the differences between the minimum levels of pay ranges. So looking at the difference between the minimum salary of level 1 and the minimum salary of level 2. That's fine, but it is really much more important to look at and to calculate the difference between the maximum level of the lower level and the minimum of the higher. So therefore, the difference between the maximum of level 1 and the minimum of level 2, because as if we're designing compensation structures, 1, you need to make sure there's no overlap, and 2, you need to make sure that there is a definite gap between the two levels. So let's look at this, yeah? All right, so this is the table. So let's start here. Let's look at the calculations and look at the pay level differences. So what a lot of y'all did was actually look at the difference between the minimum of level 1 and the minimum of level 2, which is fine, but it's really much more important that I make sure and look at the difference between the maximum of level 1 and the minimum of level 2, because that's a movement that's going to happen. If people have been in a position and have reached the max of level 1 and are promoted to another level, they're probably going to go here. They're not likely going to go here. Okay, now sometimes that happens. That's not good practice. They're supposed to go to the base of level 2 or the level above, which is why we need to make sure that the difference between these two is significant. So as you can see, there's only actually a 6.67% difference between the top of level 1 and the bottom of level 2. So all I did was take the difference between 8,000 and 7,500, which is 500, divided by the 75, and that's 7%, 6.67. So imagine you are here. I think that's what I'm saying in the next line. No, not yet. I'll get to that. Anyway, let's move on with the calculation. So let's say, again, I'm not looking between 2 and 3. I'm not looking at the difference between the two minimums. I need to look at the difference between the 10.5, the maximum, and the minimum here. So imagine this little 500 is actually working out to 4.5%. So you're being promoted to a whole level above you, which should imply more accountability, more responsibility, a job that is more, adding more value to the organization. Yet you're getting a 4.5% increase. And then finally, this last one here between 3 and 4, we're looking at a little bit more acceptable numbers, because there's a difference between 15 and 18, especially, of course, for these higher levels. So that's 3.5 divided by 15, that's a 23% differential. Now, once again, you can see that these aren't even very, they're like kind of like all over the place. Now, I'm not saying that this one necessarily needs to be lowered, because you do maybe want to have a difference between maybe your middle management and your seniors or whatever, but the numbers don't really kind of go. And if we look at the other way, which most of you all did fine, we're looking at the difference between one increment and another. So obviously, to work this out, we tried to, if it's 5 to 7.5, we looked at the midpoint. There's a $2,500 difference there. The midpoint would be halfway, and then you could easily work out what these are. So when we're working out these incremental increases, or the difference in the, what we could call the ranges, you'll see that the number amount is the same. 625, 625, 625. Here, I think it was the same as well, 625. Yeah, but of course, what is going to change is the percentages, because they're using a bigger base. So it goes up a 12.5 increase from here to here, but then it goes to an 11%, then 10, then just under 9. So as you, even though it's the same dollar amount, obviously as you go up, it's decreasing. So let's just look at that. So again, here we're using the percentage differences between the ranges, which is what I just talked about. the percentage will decrease as you go up because it's the same dollar amount, but the base figure increases. Yeah. So as I say, it's the same dollar amount, but the base figure, the bottom figure of that fraction or that sum is increasing, so it's going down, which is why this one was an anomaly. So you could have looked at it that way, or you could have looked at it like, okay, the min is 11, the maximum is 15. That's a 4,000 difference. Therefore, really, the midpoint should have been 13,000, 2,000 more than this, 2,000 less than that. So one time you know that was some kind of error went on. The other way you could have seen it is from 9 to 10 to 6. Really, this figure should have been more like 7.8 or something. I don't know the exact figure, but it should have gone down just like how these continue to go down. And of course, that's off because this is off. Okay, so do the differences seem correct and fair? Well, a lot of y'all did not look at the differences between the maximum of the lower level and the minimum of the first. But let's look at it again. If you were making $7,500 in level 1 and you've been there for a number of years and you got promoted to level 2, are you all right with a $500 increase in salary? Are you okay with a 6.67% increase in salary? That may not be that appealing to people. Worse yet, between level 2 and 3, let's say you were on the max of level 2 at 10.5 and you got promoted to a new level in the organization compensation structure and you're going up $500, that only looks at like a 4% increase, or 4.5% increase. So those are the kind of things I was looking at. The last one would be if you were going from level 3 to level 4, it's a 23% increase. And I'm sure many people would be quite happy with that. But again, maybe it doesn't augur well for equity at lower levels here to here to here. So again, food for thought, just so that you can get a feel of how this all gets pulled together. It's one thing to understand all the theories and concepts behind it, but to actually put it together in a compensation structure, well, this is where all the logic, common sense, math, statistics, where all of this comes out. Okay, that's it for this. Bye.